What's good, everyone? Welcome to this week's charting session. Today is Sunday, September 14th, 2025. I'm going over this week's price action. I think I traded pretty much every day this week. So we'll go over all the trades I took this week. I think the only day I didn't trade was Wednesday or Tuesday. But we'll go over it. Really bullish pretty much the whole entire week. So I was just basically trying to get in on any longs I could. But yeah, let's start off with Monday. So Monday was a pretty clear continuation day, right? So if we just look at the overnight session, we had London trade into this, just overnight traded into this hourly gap. I think this was also a 4-hour. No, we left this 4-hour unfilled, right? So we mitigated this hourly. And coming into Monday, I was just saying, okay, either we can start displacing through this. If we do displace through this and create gaps, then I'll expect this buy side to be the main target on the day, right? If we soup this, trade lower, then we can probably expect the 4-hour unfill to get hit, right? So that was pretty much the scenario going into Monday, but I definitely was just a lot more bullish, and open pretty much confirmed that for me. We did have this short opportunity, which I think a lot of people got cooked on. Who in here took this short? Or maybe it didn't. I actually did it like a poll. I feel like a lot of people actually faded this, which is good. I remember. Can you guys hear me? No, I didn't take that. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. I thought my show was lagging. Right, so after that, we ended up continuing higher, right? And at this point, this is a very clear sign in a bullish continuation model, right? When you're looking at highs and lows, this is also the same way you can set yourself condition with gaps, where it's like, okay, if this gap gets respected, you can expect price to trade lower. If this gap gets disrespected, you can expect us to trade higher, right? The same way you can look at that with highs and lows, right? So if we start displacing through this high, then you can expect what? For us to trade lower and then respect that gap. If we do that, then we can go to this high, right? Because this is a very clear sign that we're going to this high, right? The way we distribute through highs and close above. We're not souping in and then trading lower, right? So I'm now just looking for a 5-minute or 15-minute gap to open up. That's my continuation model, right? I'm going to opening up this 15-minute gap, waiting for price to trade into that. We also get a 10 a.m. open. So this is your 10 a.m. open right here. We get a 10 a.m. open low, right? The key level below the opening price is this gap, okay? And this is what you want to see if you're bullish, right? I know I'm going to get the question like, why isn't this an open high even though we start trading above opening price? This is not an open, or who can answer first? Why is this not an open high? Let's see if anyone knows. Why is this technically not an open high and it's still an open low? No key level, right? To manipulate, exactly, right? So whenever we're looking at open lows and open highs, it doesn't matter whatever the first like 5 candles are, really. Like the first 1-minute candle, it doesn't matter. You need to be looking at the levels around the opening price. For example, this 15-minute gap. Or if we were going to have an open high, we should have went to this high, which is the drawn liquidity on the day, right? Okay, so then from here, this was a more discretionary play, right? We ended up having a 2-minute inverse, and I took the 2-minute close. A really good V shape, really good reaction. But we were inside, I think, a 3-minute, and there was just multiple gaps in this leg. So I did take this more as like a discretionary play. It wasn't the highest time frame in the leg. But I did really, really like this play just because everything I wanted to see happened. The 15-minute gap got hit. A very obvious sign in a bullish bias, very obvious bullish narrative, right? Super obvious draw. And yeah, so I was okay with taking this. And then we had this 5-minute premium gap that I looked to see myself get break even on. So I took it here, break even there, and then I held for the external buy side. But again, this was a more discretionary play for sure. But yeah, do you guys have any questions? I think this is the day where you called my setup an F tier trade. What was the trade you took? There wasn't really any F tier setups unless you took like shorts. If you took shorts, then yeah. You took shorts? Okay. Well, why are we taking shorts? Were you more convicted because the 5-minute gap was discounted? Yeah. I mean, the thing is with this play, like, it's either I'm going to trust my bias and get in on this, or I'm just not even going to take the trade at all, because you're not going to get an entry if you're waiting for all of these gaps to get inverted. That's just like the reality of this shit. Like if we're looking at this leg, we have a 3 minute, we have a 4 minute, we have a 5 minute, and these are all like super high in a premium. So I was just trusting my analysis and my overall bias. And I wasn't going to let my entry model hinder me from taking the trade, if that makes sense. Ronan took those shorts too? Really? I doubt that. He took shorts when? Oh, was there an SMT at this high? No SMT? When did he take shorts? He took the second short. At what time? If there was a woman in that leg, would you have taken it? I like the 2 minute, but yeah. Go on the 3 minute chart. This? There's no way. Oh, 928. Are you talking about this initial short? This one? No. Because this one I could see him taking. The one that hit the 30-minute gap. This was it. Okay. Oh, he took a mech model. Okay. To the unfilled 15-minute. Oh, so there was like a little SMT at this high. Okay. I could see that, but I'm surprised he took that with such a clear like bullish bias. Yeah. But mech does do that. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't be looking for shorts, honestly, like in this price action. The thing is, guys, we can have ideas like this, right, where we are super, super freaking bullish, right? There's a very obvious draw higher, right? I think we can all agree on that. And of course, we have this unfilled 15-minute gap, right? So technically, it is mech, and technically, we are hitting a gap. But it's like, why even trade against this? Because it's super low probability at the end of the day. Like we could just continue to keep trading higher, right? We don't even have to rebalance the leg, especially in like this bullish narrative. Sometimes gaps just don't even get rebalanced, which is the point of like the mech model. You need to be like trading it alongside bias. Does that make sense? So I would tell you guys I'd rather you guys just wait for the gap to get hit and be aligning your bias with your entry model. Okay. Do you guys have any more questions about Monday though? It's a pretty straightforward day. Just again, a more discretionary play that I don't expect a lot of you guys to take. It's very rare you'll see me taking something that's not the highest time from inversion, but on a setup and day like this where it's kind of my only option and I'm really confident in it, I'm going to take it. Why was the 938 short bad, please? Yeah. Mechanically, this is a good setup, right? Mechanically, this is good. The only reason this is just technically bad and not a valid short to take was just bias. As well as we opened up a 5-minute gap at the same time. So waiting for this 5-minute gap to open, because you're going to take this short, and then even if this entry did trigger, you're just going to basically had to be break even at that point. What else? And then just bias overall. It was just more, we just had a bullish bias on this day. But it wasn't a bad short. I wouldn't say like, is it bad, but bias-wise. Just looking at what overnight session did, right? If we look at overnight, we traded, manipulated lower, and then coming into New York, you should expect distribution higher. London manipulation, New York continuation was this daily profile on this day. Can you go over the 5-minute that inverted in that leg? Yeah, I think there was like eventually the highest time frame inverse happened. The entry model was just cooked at that point. It was a really high entry. Yeah, so it's like you can't enter that. Discretion is just completely based off screen time, correct? Yeah, pretty much. Like discretion is not something I can teach. It comes with screen time. on the discretionary model, like that we have like that's just targeting like buy side liquidity and sell side liquidity versus like the mech model is just targeting an unfilled gap. It's like mechanical. Why don't you think we could tap the first 5 minute and get a resweep? Because it's 15-minute gaps, the highest time frame, higher time frame is always going to hold higher power. So we're always going to, we do not have to like hit the 5 minute gap here. It's not necessary. Would the low I circled be considered to protected? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, especially if it's a 4 a.m. low. Yeah, yeah, that would be like London lows. So that'll be protected. Yeah. A really good sign that like a lower high is protected is just if we have like a gap that looks like this. Like this is the thing with protected highs and lows, we can have buy models that look like this, right? And then every low we put in, right, should be protected. But obviously, it's not always right, going to be protected. There's going to be times where we can trade lower. We can then resweep this low. And then this makes this low even more protected now. So like now this low is a super protected low because it swept liquidity inside of a gap, right? But yeah, in buy models and sell models, lows and highs that hit gaps should be protected, right, until the new key level has been hit. Okay. I'm going to go over Tuesday now. Say we have a protected low inside of a 4-hour gap. Would tapping into a premium 5-minute for rally gap be enough to make that unprotected? No. I would say waiting for the next drawn liquidity to be hit. You want to see like the buy model complete. If we just hit like a premium for rally gap, that's not completing a buy model or sell model. So you took that 1 minute long because even if price inverse both variables, we'll have to see when the high entry would still be poor. Yeah, and I did see clear displacement through that 2 minute gap, but yes. How often do you need a resweep on the leg? I don't really ever need resweeps, but if you're talking about daily bias, yes, I'd like to see 930 open lower if I'm gonna be bullish or 930 open higher if I'm gonna be bearish. So like, yeah, like sweeping out, manipulating, right? You want to see like that Judas swing form like this if we're going to be bearish, or like this if we're going to be bullish. So pretty much every time, but obviously there's going to be times where we don't get that Judas swing and we just distribute through it like on Monday. And then at that point you can just wait for a continuation. So it's not like always you need manipulation, but I like it best for, what's it called? RR reasons. Yes, these charting sessions are recorded. NQ is on the right, ES on the left. ES is a 5-minute, NQ does not have. No, I don't really care. I don't really pay attention to ES like that. ES has like gaps and stuff. I really only care about it for draws. Okay. All right, Tuesday. What happened Tuesday? I'm trying to remember because I don't think I traded Tuesday, or I think I. Let me look. Like I'm not gonna lie, I think this was just such an ass day. Yeah, because I didn't even post. I think if anything, I got break even. Because we had news after, right? Let's see. It was this long, yeah. This was a really good play, though. What'd you guys take on this day? I'm curious. Nothing? I feel like nobody traded this day. I think there was like no setups. No, the long we took off data lows I think was the day after this because this was Wednesday. Okay. What the fuck did I take on Tuesday, bro? I remember what I took. This shit. Okay. This was a pretty good setup. I actually did really like this. I'm really surprised this didn't work, but this was a break-even trade, yeah. Okay, so we had... This was just a day where we were generating liquidity for tomorrow. Right, this was just a news day. This is a really, really honestly, you guys need to be paying attention to these type of days because the second I saw this play not work, I knew the rest of the day was just going to be shit and we were just going to be generating liquidity, right? So we ended up trading lower. I think we hit Asia lows here, right? So we hit Asia lows. We hit this 15-minute gap. Really nice discounted fair value gap here, okay? Asia lows. Then we had this discounted gap here that we hit. Okay, so really, really textbook play. And from here, right, I was looking to get into longs off of the highest time from inverse in this leg. We did have a 10 a.m. open low. Really, honestly, textbook setup, like a trade I would take any day of the week. But this just ended up failing. We ended up taking it here. I took this long here. I think I'm gonna stop like this. It was some one-to-one shit. Or maybe was it like a 1 minute order block? Something around here. And then I went break even at this internal high. And then I was just looking to hold this to pretty much all of this low resistance liquidity. But I think my main target here was this 15-minute intermediate high. Like this was like my main TP. And I think I was looking back at this and I think ES hit it. 630. But like, I don't know. I wanted to see like this whole run happen. Usually we just run the whole thing if we run it. But yeah, break even trade here. Yeah, that was pretty much it. There was nothing else on this day. I think there was also... yeah, I don't really see anything after that. And then we just leave this low. So it's like... and then respect this gap. How'd you rate this 2-minute IFG short setup? Yeah, I think a lot of people took shorts on this day, which is cool. I just was honestly like, this is to me, this is a very bullish, at the time, like a very bullish scenario where we're generating highs here. We also were generating lows, so it was a pretty rangy day, but leaning more bullish since like higher time frame narrative. But yeah, I don't know. That's crazy. We didn't hit that 4-hour gap in AM, bro. We traded all the way down there just to not even hit it. Crazy. When we're just generating liquidity on the day. We had a S&T lower. All right. I thought you took profit because ES took it. I didn't TP, no. I got break even on the trade. I wish I TP'd. For open, high, low, close, does it have to hit a higher time from key level or just any fair value gap or sweep of liquidity? It has to hit a higher time from key level. Not just any fair value gap, but like a sweep of liquidity is still like a higher time from key level, right? A sweep of liquidity, like it could be like a higher time from liquidity pool. Though. It has to be a higher time from liquidity pool. Why do you like that 30-second even though it was a part of a different trading leg? What do you mean? It was the highest time frame in this trading leg that hit the key level. It was still the same leg. Different 30-second trading leg. It was the highest time frame that hit this key level. From this high to this low. And there was no other inversion. Yes, took those highs. Yeah, we reversed them that well. I think I have 13 wins, 13 L's, 20 break evens. Okay, I'm at a break even stage from a technical perspective, understanding them all. I'm good. On the side of psych, what would you say if you're ever on a break even stage? What you got? Yeah. So for me, when I was in my break even phase, I just was always journaling, and I feel like a lot of people just don't want to hear that, and a lot of people are just lazy and they just think like journaling doesn't do anything, but it really, really does help with just understanding your wins, understanding your losses more, and really seeing like, okay, like this makes sense, like this loss makes sense, this win makes sense, and you can kind of narrow it down. Like, how do you guys think like I got to the point I'm at today where, okay, I have rules where I don't long against equal lows. Well, I have a lot of losses that I saw that I lost because there was equal lows on my stop loss. Okay, cool. So I won't long against that. I don't trade against the 4-hour candle, right? So it's like all these rules I created were for myself, right? I don't have anybody else's rules, right? Does that make sense? Like, you have to create your own rules to be self-sufficient. You have to journal to be self-sufficient. You have to understand your wins, understand your losses, because at the end of the day, you're the one that's seeing the market. I'm not over there freaking clicking buy and sell on your computer, right? You're the one that's doing that. So it comes down to you at the end of the day. But understanding that comes down to just journaling. Journaling. Okay, let's see, Pratt. Okay, I don't think this is actually a bad short. This is a pretty good loss, Pratt. I would say this is a good loss. But literally the only problem is this is actually I just saw this. Damn, was this the highest time frame? We hit a 5 minute. Yeah, this is a good loss, Pratt, for sure. It's just a day where we're generating liquidity, honestly, bro. That's just unfortunate. I got off. Honestly, if I didn't take this initial break even trade, I probably would have taken this loss, honestly. If I didn't take this initial break even and got off for the day, I would have definitely taken this. That's crazy. You know what's also funny? Just about like live streams and stuff in general. Like, I completely got off on the day and I didn't even like look at the charts for the rest of the day. If I was on live stream and I like had to, obviously I'm staying for the whole live stream, I probably would have taken this short. That's funny. 30-second. Actually, no, I definitely wouldn't have, just because it was such a generating liquidity day. But this is a good loss. Okay. Good continuation model. I still think it's good though. Even though it took the internal low, I still think it's good. The draw is really obvious here to the point where you don't really have to care. And we inverted the gap that's at this, so it's like a change in state of delivery. Super nice, super nice. Yeah, a lot of people took this. But good TP, nice. Every time we trade a new down candle, is that a new trading leg? Sometimes we have one big 3 minute. For example, like if there was like a clean 30-second in here, then this would be like a new trading leg, right? It really just matters if there's a gap. But yeah, every time we have a move down, like a swing high and swing low is a leg. But pay attention to where the key level is. Yes, sir. Literally. And it's like removing your ego is the biggest thing to profitability, bro. Like, not like always looking at your losses and really learning from them, not just taking a losing trade and then being like, oh, like this, the market was just against me today, or like this is just something. Like, no, understand why you lost. For stop losses, when you are targeting unfilled gaps, where do you put your stop loss? The wick or the low? It depends. You'll see it on like these trades I'm taking. It really depends on every day. Like, for example, here I put it at the order block, right? You could also put it here, which is like the gap. More safe is like the order block. Obviously, I'm not gonna put it all the way down here. That's a little bit crazy. If we like disrespect this order block, probably the setup's failed by then. So it really depends. I mean, if the entry was like all the way down here, then like, yeah, I could still have really good RR and put it at the low. So it's like whatever I get, really, whatever price action gives me. If it gives me an order block, then I'll take the order block. If it gives me a, I don't know, if it gives me a for value gap, then I'll put it at the for value gap low. If it gives me the top or bottom of the entry where I can put it at the wick, and then I'll do that. Also, if we have really big wicks, like I'll show you guys on, I think, Wednesday was a day that people took a lot of losses. Yeah, this is a trade where really good. So I'll answer that question about stop losses now. Or let me. When you take reversals at 11, I don't honestly ever take reversals at 11. I'll only look for like continuation models at 11. Bro, Miami's so annoying, bro. It's like beautiful weather for a little first like 2 hours of the day, and that shit. Now it looks like it's just gonna rain so hard. Is it necessary to have a 30-second time frame? I don't think it's necessary. I traded without it for a while, but I definitely take a lot of my setups now on the 30-second just because it's really good RR and it's more precision entry. So I like trading it. I would say back test with the 30-second and see if your win rate goes higher or lower. Make more money or less money. Could you go a little bit into breakaway gaps? So are you talking about them on a continuation model vid? Yeah, so for example, this 4-hour gap that got hit was a breakaway gap on Monday, okay? So we had a 4-hour for rally gap, and you can expect price to leave this as unfilled. Reasoning for that is because we mitigated already in the hourly, and then we traded above, and then we opened up this gap. So it's like the same thing with like, let's say we have a 5-minute for rally gap. We trade into that 5-minute for rally gap. We trade then away from that 5-minute gap. And then after that, we open up a 15-minute. This 15 minutes going to be a breakaway gap, and we're probably not going to go back to it. And you can expect it to be unfilled just because we've already mitigated this range. So like you can expect this 4-hour gap to be unfilled because we already mitigated this hourly range. What day was I going over though? Thursday? I think it was this day, yeah. Price action was definitely tough this week though, for sure. Like, very tough. I played it really well. I'm happy with how I traded this week though, for sure. Dude, I've been on a crazy, like, honestly, not to glaze myself, but look, you might be one of my, this year's Wednesday out, where Wednesday. I still can't believe he shorted twice on Friday. Who? Did you quit smoking when you started trading? I quit smoking before that. I just didn't really... I don't know. I don't enjoy smoking weed. Like, it just gives me anxiety, and I don't... Yeah, it just honestly gives me anxiety. And I get, like, just anxious around people. I'll smoke weed every now and then, but, like, only with people I genuinely fuck with, and, like, my best friends or, like, my brother or, like, family, you know? But if it's just, like, with some randoms, or I'm just, like, at a party or something in, like, a social setting and I'm smoking weed, definitely not. I just feel like I just don't like that. But what was I going to say? Definitely quitting your bad habits, though. I did. I quit a lot of my bad habits. I was smoking nicotine, though. I was vaping, and I quit that. And that for sure translates on the charts. It sounds fucking like corny, but it's true. A lot of your bad habits and your undiscipline off the charts will translate to on the charts, for sure. No doubt about that. For stop losses when you're... I just answered that. Oh, TJR. TJR shorted twice. Yeah, I don't understand. I actually saw that. I've never watched anyone's trade recap, but I was like, Friday was really obvious. And bro was shorting. I was like, what? It's so crazy how, like, people, like, still be profitable and, like, just still take, like, crazy trades like that. Like, it's such a different view on the market. Like, Friday to me, like, no way I was shorting. But it's like people just have different views on the market, bro. It's like people can fucking trade trend lines like Tory trades and be profitable. And it's like, that's what's so interesting. So basically a breakaway gap is both a 5 and a 15 at one point. Another example is a 1 hour turning into a 4 hour. Yeah. It just matters really about like time. So like if we hit the 5-minute gap and then we trade away from it, and then after that, then we create the 15-minute gap, then it'll be a breakaway. Or same thing with like the hourly and the 4-hour. But yeah, then revenge traded with 100x the size. I'm dead, bro. Can you rate the 3-minute short at 10:15? Yeah, on Wednesday. I'll get into it in a second. I'm gonna get into Wednesday in a second. Confluences. Yeah, a lot of people got cooked on this. All right, let me get into Wednesday. All right, so coming to Wednesday, right? I think all of us had a pretty clear bullish bias as well, like very bullish on the whole entire week, right? Just continuing to respect bullish, disrespect bearish, trading up towards all-time highs. Okay. We also left data highs. This is a great draw on liquidity. We end up trading lower, hitting data lows. Okay. And at this point, then we also, I think, we hit the 5-minute gap right here. Or the 5-minute intermediate low, or what was it, 15-minute intermediate low? This is 15-minute, yeah, 5-minute intermediate low. All the way down here. Right, so this is the end of that low resistance liquidity run that we have. Okay. All of this. Ended up running it, okay? So at this point, I'm going to be looking from longs off here, right? Why? Because we have an unfilled 5-minute gap, right? We have a beautiful, beautiful SMT here with data lows. ES was higher. It's okay to trade. Does anyone know why it's okay to take this long, even though we have a bearish SMT at this high? Who can answer why? Yep, pretty much all you guys got it. Those are like the two reasons. Number one was the draw on liquidity was higher towards data highs. And then also because we have a bullish SMT, so ES is naturally going to be trading higher and above price. Cool, right? Like when we have this bullish SMT in play, ES is just gonna trade higher and then like hit the internal draws quicker, obviously. So yeah, and then of course ES still has our data highs intact, which is the main draw on liquidity on the day, which was crazy. This didn't get hit. That's what I'm saying. Like this week really shows like how powerful this model is, guys, because you can still be banking and like just go to my trade recaps. Like I'm still banking this week, even though it was really tough because I trade like 1-to-1s and super quick R. Like even though we don't have like huge distribution days, it's like this is why like 1-to-1s in my opinion are so powerful because you can still be winning even on shitty weeks. And then even on good weeks, you're still winning. You're just getting a little piece of the pie, you know? So that's what I find really, yeah. But this, if I traded higher RR, like I think this was a very obvious like target. And I thought this was going to get hit, but we generated it for Friday to hit it, or Thursday. But yeah, anyways, so this was the long setup. This is like honestly one of the most textbook setups all week. I'd say one of the best setups of the week. So the reason, guys, also the SMT did its job and we had a resweep. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good looks on that. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. The Big Daddy Max. Anyways. Okay, so right, SMT here, 5-minute intermediate low hit, unfilled 5-minute, and we have data highs. Okay. So on a trade like this, guys, where we have a really obvious wick, right? This is going to be seen as a draw on liquidity or like an unfilled gap. Think about this as like an unfilled gap. And we have a big wick because price likes to trade back towards EQ of this wick and then react off it, okay? So it's always, always better safe than sorry, even if it cooks your RR a little bit, to just put it at the low, okay? Look at his Big Daddy Max. He's at this football game with Pat, okay? So from here, we end up trading lower, hitting this EQ of this range, and then trading higher, right? and then hitting that unfilled 5-minute gap, right? So that's why having a stop loss here is super, super helpful. And I feel like I saw a lot of people get cooked on that, but that was the reason, because we had a fat wick like this. And if you can, just put it there, especially if this wick was like unmitigated. Let's say like this wick happened here and then we already hit it and then we trade higher, then I would say it would be valid to like put it like above. But since this wick is like unmitigated, you'd want to see. Sometimes CE happens, which is like where like Powell Churtman gets his entry, and like those people that like bottom and top tick. Technically, this wouldn't be mech. No, it's still mech. It's still mech. It's still a mech shot. Just unfilled gap. Can't believe I hesitate on this. Yeah, if you hesitate on this, I don't know. This is like the most beautiful trade I've seen ever. It was like the most no-brainer setup ever. But it's fine. It's something about journal, and then yeah. So on trades with the larger wicks, you're more likely to place stops at the wick, yeah. Technically, are you still interested in that mini one-on-one interview? Oh yeah, Cameron, my bad, bro. It's just been a pretty hectic week. I'll let you guys know. I'll let you know though. Yeah, I'll get to you on that in a second. Let me put a reminder. Okay. I think it was the 4 hour. Makes sense. But we had a 1 hour here that was just gonna send price higher, or should have just sent it way higher though. After the first retracement of the wick, I thought it was cooked. Me too. It's your longest winning streak, longest losing streak. I think 7 days in a row I've lost. That was crazy. It was like a straight week in 2 days. It was like a week and then like the first 2 days of the next week. I was like, bro, could you imagine? I think it was like literally every single day for a week straight. And then Monday and Tuesday. Something like that. And then I had the hardest comeback ever where I just had 30 days straight winning. It's funny how the model just always bounces back. Why do you trade on NQU instead of NQ1? This is just the actual contract. I think NQ1 switches the contract for you, but it doesn't matter. You can trade both. Can you explain why conditions were not choppy? I thought we were accumulating. We were accumulating until we had the manipulation lower, and then the distribution looks like. Just got in here. I don't know if you explained, but how do we approach trading all-time highs? Just bullish until proven wrong. So just keep looking for long until proven wrong. If you ever have like a daily high with the big wick and you know that's too far away, do you ever use CE? No. Why specifically do you not want to wait for the 4 hour? Because the 1 hour was here. So I don't need to see price go lower than that. This should send price higher. Can you go over Wednesday, 13:52 p.m.? Yeah. How did you handle? Let's just go to the 13:52. 30-second continuation from a 15-minute gap. Living in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. And the world's gonna know your name. Wait, 1352 is this. Yeah, I mean it looks clean. Like I can see the idea already. Yeah. Um. Yeah, it looks good. I just don't trade PM, honestly, bro. I actually don't really like this. Wait, did we hit this low? We hit this low. It's a pretty obvious low. It's not the 4-hour gap. Yeah, I don't really like shorts actually. I just don't like shorts here because we hit this 4-hour low. We hit the draw, so it's very low probability to be shorting against this. How'd you handle that losing streak? Just go into backtesting? Yep, pretty much. I'll just backtest pretty much. Were those model losses or just bad losses? A mix of both. Mix of both. I definitely learned a lot from the losing streak for sure. Were there two 30-second trades at the same time as your trade Wednesday? Two 30 seconds at the same time? What do you mean? Like, as a continuation? Like these? Any really 30 seconds I don't like here. I'll just say like take the highest time frame. This is not like a valid continuation because we're not like hitting this. No, like right around your entry was prior. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, this was like a break even trade here. Break even on this. I think it was like in the A ratings, honestly. Or no. Probably like the B ratings. But this low is just a very obvious low, this 5-minute intermediate low. So you need to wait for that to get hit. Yeah. Okay. All right, I'm gonna get into anything change. Did you change anything on your psych or setups after that losing week? I mean, I just journaled, yeah. So I mean, I learned a lot just rules wise when to trade. I think I took like a lot of like reversals against 4-hour. Like I think it was just a day where I was just trying to take a lot of reversals. What are your thoughts going into this week? I mean, I'm mainly looking for just continuations because we're just basically at all-time highs, bro. So it's just bullish until proven wrong. I mean, it's not like you can't really say anything. Like it's just unknown territory. Nobody knows what the fuck's gonna happen. What's gonna happen? Did you suggest that we trade PM session on Wednesday? I don't suggest that you trade PM ever, honestly, bro. I just don't think it's high win rate. I used to trade it a lot, but I'm just like much calmer now trading. Like it's definitely just like made my psych a lot better by not trading PM and yeah. All right, Thursday. Will this recording be posted by tonight? Yeah. Would the sweep of these data lows not be enough though? What made you want to wait for the 5-minute? Because it's time, like looking at like the time frame alignment, looking at like if you look at just because we're in an hourly gap, you want to be seeing the PD raise and the the liquidity that lies around it. Liquidity is really, really important. So liquidity always you want to be seeing get hit. You don't want to see it be left behind. But it was a good break-even trade either way. Okay, so Thursday, Thursday I took 2 trades. Okay. First setup was a short. Okay, I like shorts at this time, honestly, just because of the data low. I thought we could potentially see us hitting this data low. In hindsight, I don't really like this trade though. I think I got lucky with the break even. It was just it was way more bullish. So definitely this is like not a setup at all. But I really like the reaction. I really liked like this V shape we had. And I liked how it was like a quick break even as well with like the CISD, good entry model. And then a good like 10 a.m. open as well. So I was looking to see like potentially, I mean, I have seen setup like this work. So I just liked really honestly like the break even. I knew we'd at least hit this. So yeah, I'd say like a B setup. Just I really liked like the draw lower. But this ended up failing, right? At that point, I immediately flipped to that bullish bias. So it was a very obvious bullish bias. Okay. We continued to trade higher. And at this point, right, we were respecting bullish, disrespecting bearish. And what is the obvious draw here? Data highs, right? Very clearly trending towards this. And we haven't met the objective of the session, right? So I'm still waiting for the objective of the session to get met. Closing above highs, right? We then trade back to this 5-minute gap here. Once this 5-minute gap gets hit, right, I'm displacing from there. I think we inverted a 2-minute gap was the highest time frame in the leg here. Took the long here. I think I have a stop loss here. The fair value gap low, something like this. And then I just targeted a 1-to-1 RR. In hindsight, I definitely could have just targeted like the whole data high, but like you guys have just seen this week, bro. Like I just was not trusting this week just because of the amount of times we're just leaving liquidity and then generating it for another day. It's just been really cringe price action this week, so I just fucking said, give me a 1-to-1 and I'm good. But yeah. When do you not use conditions? Because some of these don't use conditions. I mean, I'm always using conditions like just for my bias. Is the thing. Like I'll always say like, if this gets respected, if this gets disrespected. So I'm always using conditions to formulate a bias, for sure. Like for example here, right? If we're going to be bearish, we should displace through this high. We should create a 5-minute gap. We should respect it, then trade away. Like that's a condition. I'm setting myself a condition. If this gap gets respected and we get a lower time frame inversion, then we should go higher. This gap gets respected, then we get a lower time frame inversion, then it goes higher. I'm always like using conditions. If this high gets souped and we get an immediate V shape off this, inverting this gap, like it's just setting yourself like scenarios. So. Is that one FOMC? I think we have one FOMC on Wednesday, yeah. Do you take data lows, highs, creative form, orange folder news? Yeah, we could form a data wick with orange folder. That usually happens at around like what's it called? That usually happens with consumer sentiment. What makes you flip bias? I've noticed I switch bias every time price sweeps the opposite liquidity. It's really honestly like you got to be looking at overnight session. You got to be looking at the protected lows and highs. I'll flip bias really if it's the highest time from inversion of the manipulation leg and then we have a clear draw lower, then yeah, I can flip to a bearish bias or like vice versa. But flipping bias really relies on those conditions, right? So like, let's say you want to see this 4 hour bullish for rally gap hold to be bullish. Well, if it's disrespected, then I'll flip bias. And so it's kind of like that. And it's also just about like reading the markets, reading like what the chart's actually telling you. Like a lot of times we can just be generating buy side liquidity, and this is a clear sign that we're not bearish here, right? This is not a reversal. This is a continuation higher. Or we get like a clear V shape, right? And we get a clear boom. So this is a clear bearish buy. So it's just about like reading whatever the market's telling you. Will you trade before 2 p.m. FOMC? No. 9 times out of 10 I don't. I don't even think I'm going to trade Wednesday. What do you rate the 1 minute short? Probably B plus. I don't think it was A. I don't think it was actually Thursday that had both the 30-second. Yeah, the 30-second was nice. I didn't see it, but it was definitely nice, this 30-second. Oh, at 9:57 you're talking about. $9.57. Wait, what? No, this. Oh wait, 10, 11. Oh wait, my bad. Oh, you're just in different time zone. Yeah, 30-second was nice though. One got stop rated. Well, this is just not a valid entry because this is not the highest time for an inverse. You can't be taking trades like this just because this is not the highest time for an inverse. This 30-second is not valid. This one's valid though because this is the highest time frame in this leg. Then you can go break even here. You can't go break even anywhere here. Based on your data, do you notice a lower win rate for trades right after market open or towards the end of the session? For me, no. If I want to see everything I want to see happen at open, and like it's like a Judas swing, no. But yeah, I mean sometimes people read it differently, and bro, it's just up to you, like the way you trade. For sure. I was going to take the same trade as the second one you took, but it was after 11. Should I have taken it? For me, I think it was valid because the key level or the higher time frame draw was still intact. So anytime the higher time frame draw is still intact and we're still having clean price action and it's still like A plus Fs presenting itself, I'll trade. But I'm really only trading like from like that 1050 to 1110 macro to see if that can do the work. As long as that does that work, I'm fine. Okay, guys, I really have to pee. Me 1 second. I'll be right back. I just need a piss. When's an example of when you would still take a trade even if some stacked highs or lows at stop? If it's like clear distribution, if it's like a clear like fuck you candle through the gap. But I usually won't. If we have like if we generate liquidity at my stop, I won't. 9 times out of 10. This is where I kind of need trading like clarification because I thought this was a new leg. What do you mean? Like this is a leg, yeah, but you're taking an inverse where it's like this is not valid because now you're in a new gap. You have to just be looking at like where's the singular gap here, right? You can't take this because then it's immediate break even. I mean, you can and then just immediately have to go break even, but this is more valid because it's a singular gap in the leg. Yeah, but just look at clear swings. What made you not care about the SMT at data highs? Good question. So we had data highs get taken already on ES a while ago though, right? Like all the way over here. At this point in time, right? I think it was at like the 5-minute inverse or something. I'm like looking at whether or not we're going to continue being in a buy model or we are flipping order flow, right? So you have to be paying attention to what NQ is now currently doing, right? If we're going to continue being bullish, then we are going to continue respecting bullish PD rays and continue closing above highs and continue creating gaps. If this SMT was going to hold at this time and be bearish, then we would have traded lower, disrespected 5-minute gaps, disrespected 15-minute gaps, disrespected these, started closing below lows, right, and then traded lower. But we weren't doing that, right? So that's why you'd have to be like reading what the market's telling you. At this point in time, this move is not telling me that we are bearish. This move is not telling me that we are going to continue trading lower, right? So that's why I don't care about like an SMT. But I did care, which is actually why I faded this long. There was a 5-minute long, and I was going to take this. Delivering off of this 5-minute, and there was this, but we had an SMT with my external draw. ES ended up hitting data highs. So at that point, I faded this because my external draw was taken, and then I'm waiting for more structure to form. So I think that's why I liked this. Oh yeah, I remember now. That's why I like this short so much because there was that SMT, and that was a clear reaction to flip order flow in my opinion. But other than that, we traded higher, and yeah. I have a question. In your YouTube video, you said that you would take the 5-minute for rally gap and it was an A++ setup, but isn't that the manipulation leg? Friday's trade. Okay, let's get into Friday. Yeah, fuck, that was a long-ass training session. Dude, I'm hearing some weird-ass noises right now. Hold up, guys. Give me 1 second. What the fuck is happening? Fucking ice cream truck, bro. I'm way too hungover for this shit, actually. What's going on? Dude, I'm tripping out. All right. So let's get into Friday. Okay. Friday was a really textbook, was a really good day. We ended up generating this high. Okay. All-time highs, right? So again, very bullish, continuing to be bullish because we have this high still intact. Still the same high that we've been looking at pretty much all week as our main draw, right? So continuing to be bullish, right? And then I'm looking at this trading leg here, right? I'm looking at EQ of this range. We have a 15-minute intermediate low here. So this is a great area for price to then trade into. That's what I'm looking at. I want to see 930 open lower, right? So we get that 930 open lower and a little bit higher, right? I mean, we opened lower technically, but we did go higher to then generate liquidity, which is a really good sign in a bullish narrative, okay? From then, we ended up getting, I think there was like a 30-second. I didn't like this just because the delivery was really slow. And also, I can't trade before news with my accounts, the alpha right now. So there we go. We had a news candle there. At this point in time, there was no 5-minute or 15-minute fair value gap, but data lows was a really clear like low. This was just a very obvious move, right? And a very obvious fucking candle, a very obvious draw. So yeah, so it's either like, this is the thing, like if this play failed, we would have to go all the way back down to here for there to be like the key level hit, which I did not see happening with this. So this is definitely a more discretionary play because there wasn't a 5-minute or 15-minute. But yeah, it was a SMT with data lows. ES ended up sweeping out data lows. Really good reaction, very obvious draw higher. And then break even there, TP there. But yeah, that was the final play of the week. And yeah. On a situation like this, when we tap into a 4-hour, 15-minute rally up a while ago, but we did not sweep the leg. No. I wouldn't say it. No, Cameron. You got to wait for the low or the high to get hit. Before news, you said there was a 5-minute IFEG. You said that you would have taken. That was clean. Yeah, the 5-minute was clean. I think this was a pretty A+ setup. This setup here. Before news, yeah. 3-minute verse, yeah. What was the 30-second rated? What 30-second? What time? What 30-second? At the 15-minute? It was good. Like, if there was an instantaneous V shape off this, it would have been good. The only problem with this is I think we had... No, what was the problem? Yeah, I mean, the only problem was just news, and then this is a very shitty delivery. Like, this is just not a good close at all. If it was a better close, would be A+, honestly, but just because of the close and no displacement makes it honestly B. What are the times where you won't go break even right at the first intermediate high or low? If it's like a mech model, I won't. I usually just wait till I hit the unfilled gap. How would you know which leg to look into when you're looking for an IFEG? So you just look at the manipulation leg that hit the key level. So you're looking at, for example, this is our key level data lows, right? So I'm looking at the high to the low that hit this key level. And I'm looking at the high side from inverse of this leg. So it's just whatever the manipulation leg is. Like, this is technically a manipulation leg on a 30-second. From here, from this high to this low. So you can look at the high side from there, and it's just 30-second. You can always be zooming in. 1125. What? After hitting all-time highs. And this is just a pattern trade. 1125. I mean, I've seen worse. It's just like, why? It's just like, why? For what? You're just targeting a high of day that just is like in the middle. Like, there's no liquidity. We hit all-time highs. It's just a gamble. It's honestly just a gamble. So, I don't know. Not even like any rating. But I've seen worse. I get that, but the 5-minute doesn't look like it's in the manipulation line that got inverted. Are you saying for the 5-minute inverse? Yeah, so if we were looking at the high to the low of this gap, like you can play it both ways, right? You can take the 30-second if you're super confident in it as like that lower time frame manipulation leg entry, or you can just look at it on like the higher time frame from this high to this low that hit that. In the 5-minute, here's the highest time frame in this leg and like this whole entire leg, and you can just take that. 30-second would have been a better entry if the close was good and there's more displacement, but if you didn't like that, then you could have waited for the 5-minute close. But it was news, so I did take it. Since we are friends in the Discord, can I call you my bro? Of course. You think until I get a couple of payouts, sticking to the rules really strictly, waiting for the 5-minute gap is good. Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're still like unprofitable, bro, like that's the thing. Like, you don't really know like discretion. I'm struggling with chasing only higher R rather than scalping with higher win ratio. Just start only targeting like 1-to-1s and the liquidity pools around 1-to-1s. Just look at like pull out your fid and like look, or your tool, and look at like a 1-to-1, and then what's the liquidity pool that rests around a 1-to-1. Yeah, just stick with 1-to-1, bro. It really is all you need. I used to always think. I mean, bro, I've changed my trading a lot over the years. I've refined it a lot. I used to trade pretty high RR every single session. But dude, you just gotta make trading easier on yourself. Like trading is already hard as it is. Like, literally. All right, guys, I'm not gonna lie. I really have to shit. I'm about to shit my fucking pants. So I'm gonna head off here. But I love you all. Have a good rest of your Sunday. I think I have a YouTube video coming out today. I don't know if it's ready. I did my story video, so I think it's coming out tomorrow if it doesn't come out today. But yeah, also guys, go watch that PB Trading Boot Camp. We fucking finished the whole series. Go show some love. So you can go check that out. The finale's up. All the episodes are up. So if you want to binge it, if you haven't, it's a funny ass series. And yeah, I'm gonna get off here, guys. But have a good rest of your Sunday. See you guys tomorrow. And yeah, guys, have a good rest of your Sunday. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask in the chat. Also, you guys can DM other people other than me. I feel like every time I get a fucking people just like, you guys can also DM Pat and shit, but I'm just kidding. I love answering you guys, but there are other people you can DM. But I love you all. All right, I'm gonna go shit and answer DMs. So have a good one. Peace out, team.